उनको तो यही नहीं पता है कि अभी जल में संकट भी आ रहा है, हमें कंजर्व करना चाहिए वाटर।
आज के ह्यूमंस क्या है, वो उसी एक पेड़ को काटते हैं, उससे पेपर बनाते हैं, लेकिन फिर उसी पेपर पे सेव ट्रीज लिखते हैं।
Youth and children are the future of any country. They can change the world. They can do anything, whatever they want, if they wish to do.
I believe it's also very important for the governments and for the stakeholders to pay attention to the demands and needs of young people, because we need to understand it. It's we young people will be like heading into future and surviving the problems which older people or which today's generation are causing.
You have choices which even my generation and the generation of my fellow panelists did not have. One choice you do not have is to remain disengaged from your community, from a person larger than yourself.
The youth is really most of what India is all about, and in some ways it's the single largest decision-making constituency.
The Mali Declaration also was in coordination with the South Asia Youth Network, SAYEN. So, as you know, the youth, they are very important sector in the influencing the policymakers.
Governments invest a lot of money in finding out what is it that the people want, focus groups, and what we want to do at UNEP is to give them a platform to bring their voice to governments, a platform so that they are heard. Not a meeting just to discuss, but also we value their views, we value what they say.
To garner this youth power and tap youth perspectives on issues of environment and sustainability, Center for Environment Education, Ahmedabad, in partnership with United Nations Environment Programs, TUNZA, and the Ministry of Environment and Forests, Government of India, held a Children and Youth Conference at CEE in Ahmedabad. Youths from the South Asia Youth Environment Network, SAYEN, by CEE in 9 countries, and supported by UNEP TUNZA and children from Paryavaran Mitra schools, a joint initiative of CEE, Ministry of Environment and Forests, Government of India, and ArcelorMittal India, with a network of about 2 lakh schools in India, took active part in the conference.
Now at TUNZA, what we learned is how so many people from different nationalities all around the world can come together, integrate their thoughts and ideas, and form a united view on the environment globally. And probably the earth will head for a much more brighter future.
I have learned about how to maintain sustainability, how to sustain what is sustainable development. I just used to study in the books, but now I have got a practical thinking about it.
It's when you meet a person from a different area and you share your experiences, it gives you such a lot of joy, because you understand that he also understands, he's doing the same thing in a different way, in a different culture.
Environmental education and the program like TUNZA probably now, I think, as we have been sharing all through, need to focus on the outcomes. It is the handprint, the actions which really matter. Because I was also enjoying being with the children and the youth here in the exhibition, and it was an immense pleasure to listen to them how they are actually taking the leadership in the field of environment.
This is a modern purifier, we must say, and actually in all the purifiers the UVC rays are used. So here also we have used the UVC.
In this 3-day conference held from 6th to 8th February 2012, 125 children and youth from 11 countries of the Asia-Pacific region exchanged ideas, activities, projects, and had the opportunity to share their perspectives as they learned about issues and initiatives towards sustainable lifestyles for a green economy.
Really, all our schools were as enthusiastic at this, then perhaps these big conferences are not required, because you can see the type of commitment on a number of environmental issues. This set of projects are all action projects. They are projects which are actually transforming or changing what is happening at the school.
I proposed for a biogarden which is using totally biodegradable materials, like in place of plastic pots and earthen pots, I'm going to use coconut husk and coconut shells, and also the joints of the big bamboos which we get in the forest.
What we did was we came up with activities in which we could generate programs. We conducted bake sales, we conducted fundraising events, we sold jute bags which we had created. Then we collaborated with an NGO called Karam Marg. So those were some of the fundraising activities. Of course, later on, when we could build a portfolio for ourselves, we went to corporate houses asking for funds. But when you're self-reliant, you have a certain degree of independence and confidence, which doesn't come with asking for help from someone else.
I started to work for Ministry of Environment in June 2011, and I did some bilateral arrangements between Indonesian government and other governments. Reject water which comes of RO systems. Countries like India, which are arid, most of the part is arid and semi-arid, the TDS level, total dissolved solute, is very high. So we have RO systems in the home, and the reject water coming out of it goes into drain. But I personally conserve that water and use it for mopping and cleaning in my home, and that's what I'm doing my project also. I would I'll collaborate with designing students to build an RO system which would also store the reject water so that it can be easily drawn.
पहले हम बल्ब लगाते हैं और उन्हें मीटर दिखाते हैं, तो हम बताते हैं कि अभी मीटर जो है ज़्यादा तेज़ चल रहा है, मतलब वो ज़्यादा वाट बिजली ख़त्म कर रहा है. तो फिर हम शेफर लगाते हैं, तो लोगों को बताते हैं कि मीटर को दिखा के कहते हैं कि अभी जो बिजली है मीटर बहुत धीरे धीरे चल रहा है. तो उन्हें इसके बारे में पता चलता है कि शेफल बिजली को कम यूज करता है, लेकिन बल्ब जो है ज़्यादा बिजली ख़त्म करता है. इसलिए आजकल जहाँ मैं रहता हूँ वहाँ पर अधिकांश लोगों ने शेफल का उपयोग करना चालू कर दिया गया है.
Way they have taken up environment and an environmental education, I think the major concern of the universe as to how the world is going to go for the sustainability, probably now it is quite obvious that these youngsters are going to take the responsibility forward and deal with the issues of sustainability.
You know, experience is like a rear view mirror. What is it like? Rear view mirror. It tells you the road that you have traveled on, doesn't tell you where to go.
The participants together developed a draft declaration of recommendations and named it the Ahmedabad TUNZA Declaration. The process to arrive at the recommendations was led and conducted by youth. This final declaration is a charter of recommendations from the children and youth of the Asia-Pacific region to be included as youth recommendations in the Rio 20 Earth Summit taking place in Brazil in June.
One very important thing that we should be looking at is how we must first go back to go forward. I call this my maxim because what I've seen is that we need to slow down our pace and think before we actually go. All of us are in a rat race, we're in a rush to earn money, to make an impact on society without first thinking how we're going to do it.
We cannot wait what we're gonna do for our action to make our environment and our earth better.
Recommendation we came up with here is to give them life skills training where they don't have to go through formal education if they don't want to.
One point which is really close to my heart is about the indigenous communities. I feel that the indigenous knowledge is one thing which is, as an Indian, I feel that that's the treasure and that's the real wealth of India. And sharing the indigenous knowledge with the help of the indigenous people can bring about a huge difference in the way we live. Because at the end of the day, we realize that the lifestyles we are living need not necessarily be modified so much in order for us to be, eco-friendly.
How we should have a sustainability develop index such as HDI, so we could have a rating system also where people or their state or their society are not only judged on their economical and social status, but also on the kind of work which they do, which connects them to sustainable future or sustainability projects.
When you have gatherings such as this and you find that all of you coming together from such diverse backgrounds have come up with a single page of what you all want, that is cause for me for a great deal of optimism, a great deal of happiness that there is a common thread At least we all know that we have a stake in the future that you want, that we want for you.
So hopefully I could take this information, go home and apply it to my country and hopefully to the world, so that we can give back to the environment, because our environment has given us food, shelter and water, and I feel like we have to give back to the environment because we are part of it.
We are all charged up to do something really action-based that actually affects the society in a very large scale, not only at a community level. We are thinking locally, we are acting locally, but actually thinking globally.
If I go back home in my city, in my home, and I talk about that, I attended this conference, I'll be like influencing and inspiring more than 15 and 20 people in my school and in my college. And that's how it works.
Please try to promote your projects and come up with your own innovative ideas where you can change the attitudes of new generation, at the same time adults, where they can direct us to go for a sustainable world in the near future.
I want to give to everybody, including me also, that work hard, talk less. That's all.
One good thing I learned from India is the Mahatma Gandhiji's message. Earth has enough for the need of people, but earth does not have enough for the greed of people.
And friends, let me tell you one thing, जब तक environment है तब तक हम इस दुनिया में बने रहेंगे, इसलिए उनसे पंगा नहीं लेना चाहिए.
Do save your environment.
If not for others,
do it for yourself,
your family,
and for your coming generations.